Alright everyone, I'm going to be doing a Johnny Godly showcase today. This is the cosmetic with the big pink refrigerator behind me. Very nice. And here comes Johnny Glitched Glorious Godly. And I'll start off with the Johnny passives. So pretty much here, it's basically every time you upgrade Act, he'll do more damage, more range, faster hits, and on Act 4 he'll be immune to stun and do 10% more nail damage. Over here, we have every third attack Johnny performs on the same enemy perform different functions based on his current Tusk Act. So, Act 1 and 2, you perform a 20% damage follow-up attack. Act 3, perform a 35% damage follow-up attack and apply slow. Enemy takes plus 15% damage from Johnny and Tusk for 15 seconds. For Act 4, inflict stun, and then you perform a double damage follow-up attack, ignore elemental resistances, deal 10% damage every 1 second for 5 seconds, and apply shred. Next is the Golden Nail passive. The Golden Nail passive pretty much explains how Johnny's nails work. So he has 10 nails on placement, and the nail regeneration and SPA scales off of Tusk's current act. And also, once a nail has been activated, deal 40% current damage and perform different function based on current. I think that's supposed to say act. So Act 1, inflict bleed off 15% current damage. Act 2, same thing with bleed, but 25% current damage and cripple. Act 3, reverse movement for 3 seconds and inflict hemorrhage off 30% current damage. And in Act 4, reverse movement for 6 seconds and inflict hemorrhage off 35% current damage. Enemies receive 10% damage from Johnny and Tusk, 50% cap for 30 seconds, and drain 2% current HP, up to 200 billion. Once we get to upgrade 6, we'll get a new ability called Herbal Tea. What this basically does is that your golden nails are faster. There's no more meter for your nails. You gain 15% damage, 20% range, and your nails now deal 50% damage instead of 40. And then when we get upgrade 7, we get an ability called Wormhole. What it basically does is that you teleport to a different part of the map without deleting your character. Once you teleport, you deal 150% damage in the range. You slow for 35% for 30 seconds. You knock back enemies for 5 seconds. If act is for 10 seconds, knock back enemies are 10 seconds. And if any enemy leaves range while under slow from this ability, inflict mutilate off of Tusk damage. So let me show you guys an example. So if I were to wormhole right here, boom, I'd teleport Johnny up to the front. So the evolution is pretty simple. You start off at Act 1, you evolve your character, you keep evolving Tusk until you get to Act 4, and then you have to do these things here, which is use Wormhole twice, activate Golden Spin EX 3 times, and inflict pressure on 50 enemies. So Shockwave EX, every 3 times Johnny activates a Golden Nail, inflict pressure to all enemies in range, deal 50% of the unit's damage to afflict enemies every second for 5 seconds. Every 5 seconds afflicted, enemies permanently receive 5% damage from Johnny's Golden Nails. Next we have Golden Spin EX. Every 5 times Johnny uses Golden Nails, inflict Shred plus Mutilate to all enemies in range. Additionally, against strongest enemies in range, inflict Stun plus Hemorrhage. Deal an additional attack. Also, deal 50% damage on next attack against this enemy. And lastly, Unstable Vortex. If this enemy has not defeated an enemy in 5+ attacks, attacks now inflict Unstable, which pretty much disperses damage to the enemy around them. Enemies in range take 10% of this unit's damage every second. These effects expire after this unit has defeated an enemy. And now we have Tusk Act 4. So Tusk Act 4, it becomes a whole unit pretty much. He does more damage than Johnny. Literally, look at this. So pretty much Chumi Mi is an ability 200-second global cooldown. inflict infinite spin on all enemies in range, forcefully enter Dark Determination, so max evolution gives him 35% damage, 15% range, grants Johnny 15% damage and range, and unlocks 3 more upgrades. Infinite spin, upon attacking an enemy, inflict infinite spin, increasing Johnny's damage dealt against this enemy by 25%. When marked, enemies leave this unit's range, permanently receive 3% damage per second, reverse movement for 15 seconds, one-time global occurrence, and apply a permanent despair after surviving 60 seconds outside of this unit's range. Dark Determination, after Johnny kills 30 enemies marked with infinite spin, target the strongest unit on the map, each attack regardless of positioning. If the strongest enemy is already in AoE, deal 50% damage instead. After this unit targets the strongest enemy on the map 10 times, enter Dark Determination mode for 60 seconds. Upon entering Dark Determination mode, gain 30% damage, 30% range, and 10% SPA. Every 3 attacks forcefully activates Unstable Vortex, increases Infinite Spin's damage multiplier from 3% to 15%. Unstable Vortex EX. If this unit has not defeated an enemy in 3+ attacks, attacks now inflict unstable. Enemies in range take 30% of this unit's damage per second. Expires after this unit has defeated an enemy. For every enemy killed, increase infinite spin Johnny damage boost by 2.5% up to 25%. Wormhole Collapse EX. Once an enemy of special typing enters 70% current range, inflict Extinguish for 10 seconds. Reapply Extinguish every 30 seconds in range. Deal twice this unit's damage every second for 5 seconds. After 5 seconds, permanently receive 15% damage from Johnny Golden Nails. Alright guys, I have one last thing for you. So, when you use Tusk Axe for Chumimi, you will get the final lesson. And this is very good because upon passive activation, gain following bust for 60 seconds. Gain 50% damage, gain 50% range, lose 25% SPA, gain soaked, nails activate every 2 seconds, nails meter is no longer reduced, reduce wormhole cooldown to 60 seconds, and inflict infinite spin in range. So I guess it's just like a quick boost of damage. So yeah. Alright guys, that's the whole video. That's the Johnny showcase for the new Godly, Johnny Infinite Spin. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm really tired from grinding, and I just hope you guys enjoy the video and this type of content. And I hope you guys have a bunch of luck in ALS. Have a good one.